Today, we're making pulled pork. So one of my favorite things to do on a smoker is pulled pork. Honestly, there's a couple reasons it's my favorite. One is it's actually really easy to do. It's really foolproof. And the other is it's just delicious. And so unlike some other cuts that are like really complicated and you have to be like just watching every single thing and everything, like every single thing matters. Things do matter with this, but not as much when it comes to this. And so it's one of those, it's like an all-day smoke. You put in the work, but you haven't had to really put in the work, and you get really good products that everybody loves. So let's get into this. We're going to open this up, and then I'll walk you through the binding and the seasonings that I use and kind of talk through the process. All right, so now that we got it open, this is our pork shoulder, bone in. It doesn't matter with all that. I do like the bone in. It tends to be more tender in those kinds of things, but just any kind of pork butt, pork shoulder, the process is pretty much the same. So you take this and you get whatever binding you want. There are all kinds of different bindings that you can do between mayonnaise and mustard and all kinds of different lists. Matter of fact, whatever your preferred binding is when you do meats, let me know. Put it in the comments below. Let me know what bindings you prefer to use. I prefer mustard just because it's cheap. You don't really taste it in the end product. And so it just seems to be one of the more affordable. You can just find it anywhere. Of course, mayonnaise, I guess you can find anywhere too. But mustard just is my go-to on this. And for me, my preferred seasoning is the Meat Church Holy Gospel. Not a sponsor, but hey, Meat Church, we could talk, But the Holy Gospel is just good all around. It's got all the flavor profile that I want on this kind of stuff. And so we're just going to put the binding on, and then we're just going to start coating the seasoning, and then we'll be pretty much ready to throw it on the smoker. It's that easy. You just want to get a good even coat. Doesn't have to be crazy heavy. It's just enough to hold the seasoning on. Sometimes if the meat is really wet coming out of the package, you might want to pat it dry before you do this, but this one was not really bad at all. So we got a pretty decent coat on that. So now we're going to take our seasoning and we're just going to start loading it up. All right, and there we have it. Got the seasonings all on, ready to go, ready to throw this thing on the smoker. And let's talk through what we're going to do on the smoker at this point. Okay, one of the big keys that I have found to really most meat smoking, but specifically this kind of thing, that makes it consistently delicious, consistently juicy, is cooking for temperature, not for time. And so the process we're going to do here is we're not going to worry about how long it takes. Yes, I do have dinner at 5 o'clock, and so I got to make sure it's done by then. And so the beauty is that you want to rest this meat at the end, and that can be any length of time as long as you keep it insulated. And so that's where you can make up time or extend time depending on how things go. So we're here early in the morning to try to get this ready for dinner tonight. And so we're going to put the smoker on 220, and we're going to put this on, and we're going to take it all the way to around the 160 mark. Then we're going to wrap it with pink butcher paper and put it back on, and we're going to run it until it gets about 200, 205, around the 205 mark. Let's get on the smoker and let's get after it. All right, so here we are at the smoker. Yeah, good and smoky up in here. We're going to put this in just off center a little bit there. Then we're going to take our meat probe and then just get a chunk in the center. Try to make sure it's not on bone. If you've got using a bone-in pork butt, you don't want it to be on bone because bone is going to give off different temperature than the actual meat itself. So you just want to make sure you're in the thick of the meat. That's good. So then we'll just set that and come back, check it later, monitor it remotely. All right, so we've reached 160 degrees on the pork shoulder. And one of the things that I do personally, I have found on pretty much, I've worked with lots of different pellet smokers, and the built-in thermometers on those are close, but they're not precise. And a lot of the makers may argue with that or whatever. Just been my experience. I've worked with 4 or 5 different brands now of pellet smokers, and they're good for general. You're in within a 5-degree range of things, but if you want more precision, they're just better tools. And on the practical, affordable side of things, these ThermoPros are ones that I've gotten. So when it comes to this point, I'm around the 160 range. I checked with my probe thermometer in that, and I'm at like 163 currently. And so I'm going to actually switch over to this because the final temperature is a little more important than this temperature. In my experience, you guys may have different experiences and be more passionate about that than me, but my stuff comes out good. Everybody loves it the way I do it. So once I'm around this range, I'm going to switch over to this here, and then we're going to actually wrap it with pink butcher paper. Lots of people do lots of different things. Some people don't wrap it. Some people put foil. Some people put it in pans. I prefer the pink butcher paper. They all have their different pros and cons to all of them. So we're going to do the pink butcher paper. Let's get after it. All right, here we go. Yeah, it's got a good bark on it. At this point, we're going to put our paper here on our handy dandy shelf. Pull the built-in thermometer off here. Pull it out to the side, maybe. Or just sit and fight with it because, you know, that happens. All right, and so then now we're going to get the shoulder, put it down. Yeah, look at that. Looking good. Sweating good. And then pretty much you're just going to, I like the fat cap down, and so I'm going to actually flip it upside down so that whenever I wrap this up here like this, really no perfect way to do this. It's just get it wrapped and covered. But the reason I put the fat cap up is because I'm going to put all this, the open end, down to keep it closed, and I want the fat cap down as I'm cooking. And so then now that that's on there, put it on there like that. And then I'm going to come in with my ThermoPro that's got a little more precision on it. Maybe. Once again, fighting with things today. All right. And then we're going to put this in. Once again, like the beginning, trying to make sure that we're not on a bone so that the temperatures read better. And then we're going to turn the temperature up to 375. All right, so here we are, ready to pull this off. The ThermoPro probe that I've been monitoring with is, once it gets to the 195 range, between 195 and 205, I know I've been saying 205, but that's when you want to start checking it. And I do my check with the fine. I've got, again, ThermoPro, because these are just really quality for low price. I'm, again, not a sponsor in any kind of way, but I like these a lot. You want to get what's probe tender. So once you get to the 195 to 205, every so often you take one of these and check. And if it just, whoop, like butter, goes into the meat, it's done, regardless of what the temperature says. If it's at 195 and that's it, boom, done. If it's at 198, boom. If it's at 206, you know, once you get in this range, that probe tender is what really becomes the most important thing. So this one, ready to go, about 195, I came out and checked. And this was reading 196, 197, so they're close. And it was just like butter in it. So this thing's ready to come off. And what we're going to do now is drop things. But then beyond that, I've got my Asado barbecue rest bag that I'm going to pull the meat off onto in this. And then I've got a small cooler because I'm just doing one pork butt today. A small cooler I'm going to put in to rest. And you want to give this as long as possible to rest. A couple hours is preferred, at least an hour. The way this has worked out, the timing of this is going to be about an hour 20. I'm going to get to rest in this. But that rest time matters a lot. That's why having it in a cooler is good, because it'll hold that heat. And I'm telling you, after a couple hours, you pull it out of there, and it'll still be so hot you can't hardly pull it apart. And it'll be good, juicy. All that stuff will have pulled apart. Fat will have just melted like butter into the meat, and it'd be so good. So let's get this thing off of here and to rest. Pull our meat probes off. We're going to leave it wrapped. We're going to slide it into the bag, down into the cooler. Then we're going to clear our grill out here. Get it turned off. And we'll be back when it's time to pull it apart. We're done with the rest period. Ended up getting an hour and a half. Like I said, usually you want to get like at least 2 if you can, but over an hour is at least key. on this. It was tender coming off the smoker, so it's still going to be good on this. Let's pull it off, put the paper off here. Let's see what we got. Oh yeah, it's got a good bark. Falling apart in my hands here already, which is good. It's going to be delicious. All right. Fighting with everything today. That's good. My sous chef Banks will enjoy that later. So got to pull out the old bear claws and just start shredding this down. All right, one of my other sous chefs wanted to come and be a taste tester. So let's see. Which kind? All right. It's gonna be hot. Don't do what your brother did that time. Let me know what you think. Yes, no, maybe?
That's pretty good.
That's just pretty good? Okay, well, we'll try for really good next time. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like, subscribe, share if you find it helpful, or if you just want to make fun of me. That works too. See you next time.